Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast, the podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of social media, TV, films, sports, pop culture, everything really. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on Twitter, you know me as PD Beats. It's September, which means that it's the fall and hockey is back into, we're in full swing with hockey. And my guest is a hockey player playing for the Saginaw Spirit in the OHL. We are with Cole Perfetti. Cole, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Kind of a little bit of an icebreaker question. We all know that a lot of players, you know, they want to be a hockey player at a young age. But what was kind of the climactic turning point for you when you started to take it very seriously? Was it like band name? Was it novice? When was that? Like, were you like, this is what I want to do?
I always took it pretty serious. You know, I played lacrosse and hockey growing up, and around 12, I had to make a decision to go to Europe, play hockey, or to play lacrosse that year. So I chose hockey, and then ever since then, it's been hockey all the way. You know, I've been in love with hockey since I was 2 or 3 years old, ever since I was little. But around 12, 13 was when I really made a decision that this is what I was going to do, and that was the sport I was going to play.
You mentioned your love of hockey. I mean, there's many things that we love about hockey: the energy, the passion, the speed, the physicality. What do you like the most about it? If you could pick one of those things I just mentioned.
I think it's just a combination of everything. You know, not every sport is so fast and so competitive, and it's really challenging. But you know, it's so fun. Everything about the game, I don't know what it is that appeals to me so much more than other sports. But there's just something about it that makes me want to play it, and that makes me fall in love with it. So I don't know what it is, but it's everything about the game.
Hockey players have a lot of choices when, you know, they turn 15 and 16, like whether, you know, to stay to play in Canada, to play in the OHL, to go to the States. I'm sure you had a lot of options. What made you kind of decide that the OHL was something you wanted to do, Cole?
Yeah, I had a couple options when I was around 15, but I chose the OHL just because I thought it was going to be the best route for my hockey. You know, they develop players, and the OHL is a league to develop players and put them in the NHL, and that's my end goal. I just want to be an NHL hockey player, and I thought the OHL and the Saginaw Spirit were going to be the best option for me and my family, and was just going to be the most beneficial for my hockey career.
You were 16 last year, and you played in the OHL. It's hard enough to do that, but you also managed to get over 70 points as a 16-year-old. So, I mean, that's something people probably mention all the time to you. I mean, it's difficult enough to play as a 16-year-old. Talk a little bit about, like, what kind of worked for you last year, coming into kind of a brand new environment, but having the ability to put out those numbers. I'm sure you got comfortable quick.
Yeah, we had a good group of guys. Our leadership group and older guys were really good last year. We had a great group of players on and off the ice. So they kind of welcomed me there, and I kind of got suited in pretty nicely off the ice, which made me feel real comfortable. I have great billets, and then the ownership group here is crazy. They're so generous and so good that it just made the transition off the ice real easy, which isn't always an easy thing to do when you're 16, moving away from home. So I thought everything away from the rink was real easy to come in and just change that up. But and that made it real easy to just play my game on the ice. I wasn't focused on things off the ice. I was just worried about playing my game. And obviously we had a great team going to the Western Conference Finals there. So we were a team filled with great hockey players, and being able to play with the players like Owen Tippett, Ryan McLeod, Cole Perfetti, Brady Gilmer, and so on and so forth. In my rookie year, it was really, really cool, and something not a lot of rookies get to do. But it was really fun, and I think just who I was playing with, the opportunity I was given by my coach, it really just all added up, and it just turned out to be the season that I had.
No, absolutely. Who is Cole Perfetti on the ice, and who is Cole Perfetti off the ice?
On the ice, I think I'm more of a two-way forward who's evolving in the defensive end, but you know, I think my greatest aspect is my vision and my hockey sense. My shot's getting a little bit better, so I'm being able to beat goalies cleaner now. But definitely my hockey sense and IQ is I feel what more strong suit of my game is. And then off the ice, I feel like I'm more of a quiet leader. I'm not the guy in the room pumping the guys up. I'm kind of just trying to lead by example, pick up the pucks, work hard in practice and just do that kind of stuff. But I like to have a good time hanging out with the guys. We got a great group here, so just hanging out with them and going golfing, whatever it may be, just going to the movies, spending time with them. I like to be with the guys a lot, and we got a great group, so it's fun to be with them.
You're in an interesting spot because you were a kid playing hockey who a lot of people are talking about because it is your NHL draft year this coming up, and putting up those numbers you put up in Saginaw last year. But you're in an interesting situation, Cole, because you're looking up to a lot of players and you're learning every day because you were still a young guy kind of developing your game every day, getting bigger, faster, stronger, all that stuff. So you're looking up to guys, but there are some kids that are younger than you that are watching Saginaw that are looking up to you as well and be like, I want to be Cole Perfetti one day in that shootout in the Hlinka Gretzky. I want to do that one day. It's an interesting dynamic you're in because the OHL presents such a pro setting as well. You have to act like a pro even though you're still kind of young. Have you ever thought about that dynamic?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm only 17 years old, so to have little kids looking up to me, it's pretty cool. I was one of those kids back when I was 6 and 7 years old when we were building Oshawa Generals. I looked up to them like they were king, so it's pretty cool to have that and be in that spot. But it's also weird because I'm only 17 years old and I'm still looking up to guys in the NHL, trying to pattern my game after them, see what they do off the ice and on the ice. So it's a little weird, but it's pretty cool. And it's awesome to have kids look up to me and in the OHL.
And it's important because the OHL kind of prevents this like pro setting where, there are fans, there's community events, but there's also media training, media after games, before games, and you doing interviews like this on Popternative. I mean, it is practice for you once, you kind of get into the full swing of the NHL draft and your pro career down the road. Have you ever thought about that too as kind of practice?
Yeah, that's what the OHL is all about, development, and they do a great job with that, the pro schedule, the fans, the media, they do a great job with it all, and they really advertise the players and really build them up. We do a lot of stuff in the community and a lot of social media stuff, and so it really helps us build, and it's not just a stepping stone on the ice. It's making us grow as people in the school and stuff like that. So the OHL is just a great development league, and last year I came in not knowing what to do on an interview, but now through all the practice and stuff like that, it's been a lot of help, and it's been great for my development off the ice and on the ice.
If we look at the 2020 NHL draft, because it's your draft year, and it's an exciting time, and last year's focal point with Jack Hughes going first overall was the United States National Team Development Program that had a bunch of people going in the first round, a bunch of players going in the first round. This year, season hasn't started, people are talking, but it looks like there is a big chance that a Canadian goes first overall, whether it's Alexis Lafreniere, Quinton Byfield, or yourself. Talk a little bit about this kind of crop of Canadian players that you're kind of joined with in the 2020 draft, because it's going to be very good for Canada this year.
Yeah, there's tons of guys. A couple late birthdays, 01s, and then the crop of the 02 is really good. It's pretty cool to be in such a high draft class. There's guys unbelievable, putting up crazy numbers, contributing to their teams, and it's not just in Canada, all across the world. You got guys in Sweden, Russia, Finland. There's just great hockey players all over the world. But yeah, Canada's got a good crop coming up, and it's pretty cool to be one of those guys that's a part of that. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't wait for this year, and hopefully things work out.
Obviously, you can't control or predict the future, but Cole Perfetti gets drafted into the OHL, joins the Saginaw Spirit, makes an immediate impact right away as a 16-year-old. Is it safe to say that the plan is to get drafted in the NHL and potentially make an impact right away?
That's the plan, yeah. I think every kid dreams of making the NHL their first year. It doesn't always happen, but wherever I go this year, I'm just going to try and prove myself in the camps and stuff like that, and then try and crack the lineup and go from there. But it'll be a long process, and it'll be very hard, and it's easier said than done. But that's the plan. Obviously, I want to play in the NHL next year, but there's going to be a lot of work that goes into it, and I'm excited for the grind.
whether it was your family, friends, teammates, coaches, agents, scouts, was there some kind of so-called nuggets of wisdom or some advice that you kind of got last year that you could take this year? Was there any advice after a game or before the season started last year, you coming into the OHL, that someone kind of gave you advice that you could kind of share with us?
Yeah, one thing I think is trying to stay even keel. It's a long season. There's gonna be the ups and downs, especially in the draft. There's gonna be a lot of eyes on us. So trying to stay, after a game, don't get too high if we play good, and don't get too low if we don't play good or lose. So I think just trying to stay in the moment, stay even keel, and kind of just be yourself, and try not to get too high or down.
NHL 20 is coming out soon, and one of the cool things about that, as we all know, yeah, you're smiling. Players, you guys love your video games, and I think it was one of the coolest things that you could be featured in that game in NHL 20 and not be in the National Hockey League, because they do feature, the CHL. And are there any kind of funny stories in regards to that? Because you were in the game last year as well. Like, are there any funny stories of guys that played you or sent you screenshots? I always thought that was a funny dynamic, because we all grew up playing that game, and you don't have to be in the NHL to be in that game. I always thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, there's a couple times my buddies from back home would send me videos of them playing with the Spirit, and me scoring or getting an assist, or a couple times got in a fight against the biggest guys in the league. So it was pretty funny. They'd send me videos and just be like, you beat up Zdeno Chara, and it's pretty funny like that. But no, I try not to play with myself. I find it kind of weird, but yeah, my buddies like to play it, like to do that and send me stuff, so it's pretty fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's one of those things we talk about. You mentioned it a little bit, kind of. You're kind of a guy you kind of go in the dressing room, and you're not maybe the biggest energy guy, but you try to help out what you can and be a leader. Who do you think are players in the National Hockey League right now that you think you can grow a sport around? Who are those just perfect superstars that you can just kind of that just go in, do their job? Who do you think are players like that?
Definitely Sidney Crosby. He just looks like the kind of guy that just goes in. He's one of the most skilled guys in the league, and then he's still grinding away and working so hard off the ice and on the ice to get better. He doesn't take days off. It looks like everyone says how he's such a hard worker, even though he's got that great skill. And sometimes the guys with all the skill, they don't really work hard because they think they have it, but that's why he's so dominant in the league still, because he's got that skill, but that determination and work ethic's there too. So I definitely think he's kind of a guy that would lead. Obviously, you see it leading Team Canada, leading Pittsburgh to gold medals and Stanley Cups. So I think I definitely think he's probably one of the leaders out there.
Have you ever met him?
I have not. It would be cool to, but I have not.
No, absolutely. I think too, because the off-ice stuff, just kind of the giving back and the community aspect of things. Him, Jonathan Toews, you see what these guys have done. I think that's important, growing the game. We all know as well that hockey players are training nonstop in the gym over the summer. Talk a little bit about your kind of preparation for this coming year. Where were you to train? Who did you train with? What was that like?
So I train with Peter Renzetti. He's a trainer out of Pickering. So it's about 10 minutes from my house. So I'd work out there every day. He's new this year. I just started going to him. But we had a good group, bunch of OHL guys, bunch of pro guys. So it was a real good group who would push each other. And, he's a great trainer. He's been with a couple teams in the NHL. So his work is real good. And going to him this year was really beneficial for me. So I think it was a good summer, and it was tons of fun. We had a good group who loved to push each other. We had guys like Barclay Goodrow and Brandon Coe, guys like that from the NHL, the OHL, and everywhere in between. So we had a bunch of hardworking guys who came in, and we just got to work every day, whether it was sleds or the hill or whatever it may be. But it was a really good summer, and it really pushed me this year.
Absolutely. kind of staying on that whole gym and working out, I like on the show, I interview like not just hockey players, I interview all kinds of athletes, and I've interviewed pro wrestlers, but you can kind of, I'm sure you can kind of relate to this as well. And one of the things is, you know, the importance to kind of maintaining the workout plan, maintaining the diet, because there's going to be some days where you're going to probably wake up and maybe you had a cold or you're just tired, like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, but like you have to, you know what I mean? Like, how important is it to kind of, like we said, maintain this kind of workout plan? And what are some things that you've done to kind of overcome this whole kind of fatigue, not wanting to go, and kind of this mental game of not wanting to go? Because that's going to be difficult as well.
Yeah, there was definitely times this summer when I got up early in the morning and my body was sore and I did not want to go. But you know, it's if you miss a day, it's going to be you're just beating yourself. So. You just got to get in the gym every day. So some things I did, I made sure that I went to bed relatively early every night, got a good night's rest, and made sure my body was fueled the right way to recover. Lots of protein shakes, lots of chicken, stuff like that, just healthy diet. And then or like making sure that I'm going to bed on a good time. So I'm getting my at least 9 hours of sleep to make sure that I'm not tired in the morning. And I think that really worked, you know. It wasn't too often I was tired, but there were those days, but yeah, it's definitely a mental grind too. You got to stay on it mentally, and it can defeat you mentally, but you got to be strong, and once you overcome it, it's very beneficial.
Absolutely. And one last question before we wrap up, we have to mention it. The Hlinka Gretzky tournament, the U18s, you represented Canada, which was unbelievable. And we got to talk about that shootout performance, man. I mean, that was shades of Jonathan Toews in the World Juniors. I mean, you were just I mean, I guess it was just as easy as the coach said, go back out, and then you scored, right? Like, I think that's all it was, right?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. After the first one, it was me. I was the only one that scored for our team out of the first 5 shooters. So it was tied 1-1. And then the coach kind of tapped me on the back and said, all right, get ready to go. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, I'm ready to go for the next one. So I went out. I missed that one. And then I came back to the bench. I didn't think I was going to shoot again, but he tapped me. He said, you're going from here on out. So I was kind of just getting ready. I was like, well, I better get some moves ready here. And hopefully our goalie gets a stop, and then Tristan got a couple big stops there. Then they scored one, and I had to go out, and I kind of just came down and faked the move. I saw his 5-hole open, so I just tried to slide it there, and luckily it went in. And then the next one, Tristan came up big again, made a stop, and then I went out there and kind of panicked, but recovered, and then made a forehand deke and scored, and then kind of blacked out from there. But it was, looking back on it, it was like the coolest thing I've ever done. Something I'll never forget, and to be able to do it on the world stage, it was pretty cool. And just to do it with that group of guys, with the whole country watching, it was unbelievable.
That is awesome, man. Well, we will wrap up. But Cole, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know we've been wanting to do this for a while. I know you're a very busy guy, so I want to thank you for taking some time to chat.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. Where can people follow you on social media?
I got Twitter and I have Instagram. I think my Instagram is Cole Perfetti 91. I think my Twitter is Cole Perfetti 91 too. Absolutely, man. Well, seriously, congratulations for the success you've had already, and all the best for the success to come this year, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, too. No problem. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative. For previous episodes, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Until next time, this is Cole Perfetti and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.